Welcome to the Bare Bones Podcast. You complete bunch of total and utter smelly slags.
Welcome to the Bare Bones Podcast episode. I don't know where we're at actually. I think
What?
7.
Seven?
No, 7. I think
7?
7 or 8. Anyway, either way, it doesn't matter. This is the episode where we chat with Phil Kelly.
Welcome.
I say you're welcomed here.
I know, but I'm also welcome to be anywhere, so you're welcome.
You're
to
welcoming
have
the
me.
listeners.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so Phil, in fact, we've been working together today.
We
Just
have
briefly at the
Yeah,
end.
first time in a long time.
How's that going for you?
Working with you, yeah, it was grand.
You're a plasterer now.
I'm a plasterer now, yeah, but I went through the whole pretending to be a carpenter for a good 2.5 years, and that failed badly. But now I'm a plasterer, and I think the plastering's going a little bit better.
What was your first job?
My first ever job,
Yeah.
skinning chickens.
Fuck
No,
off!
seriously. I worked. It was on Mahoney Meats in Dublin. I was 14 years of age, and a friend of my school had got a John, whatever his second name was. He says like you can work on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and you get like $50, which was for a 14-year-old a lot of money.
Yeah, decent.
So I didn't really inquire what the job was. I just wanted the money. So I got there on the day, and I was skinning chickens. So I was on a conveyor belt.
Right, yeah. How do you skin a chicken? Briefly.
Quite quickly when you're when you're getting paid $50 an hour or $50 for 2 days, you have to do it quickly.
You're not
But
getting per chicken.
they're not quite frozen, so what you're doing is like a guy would like slice the back open, so you'd flip the chicken over, put your fingers under the skin, flip it up, and then just yank it off. And that's what I was doing. I was just yanking chickens off, just sending them
Choking the
conveyor belt.
chicken?
Just choking the chickens.
Yeah.
So I did that for about 2 months, and then I got fired because I took up smoking at 14, and we were on a break at 10 o'clock, and I decided to have another smoke when everyone had went back. And my boss had come up and was just like, well, what do you think you're doing? I was like, well, I'm just having a smoke. He's like, no, you're not, you're fired. So I had to leave.
Was he angry that you were there when you should have been working, or that you were smoking underage?
Oh, it's because no, it was definitely not the smoking underage. It's the fact that I was taking the absolute piss.
Yeah.
And because I was 14, I didn't know the rules. Nobody
Yeah.
had told me what was going on. And yeah, he'd come up and sacked me, and I got sent home early that day. And then the next week, he gave me a half week's wages for the one day I did, and I was giving my mum like $20 out of my wage.
Yeah.
I just to pay my way.
Was this euros?
No, this is back in the
This is
the-
back
this is
before.
Irish pound. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember telling my mum that I'd quit the job for whatever reason. She's like, okay, so where's my $20? It's like, oh, I'm gonna get paid on Wednesday or whatever. And I completely lied to her and said I lost $20. I lost her $20 on the way home. So she was just like, you need to get another job straight away. So that was my first job, skinning chickens.
Oh my god. I worked at Travel Lodge,
What, just making beds? And
making beds, yeah.
stuff? Oh man, it's a horrible job.
And I got asked to leave that one because I got told when you're refreshing the condiments, help yourself to a pack of biscuits on your shift, just
Right, how many biscuits?
But I finished cleaning the room early and I laid on the bed. And they walked in and I'm eating biscuits watching T4. And they were like, I don't think this is for you.
Did you bring your bed making skills into your later life? Do you know how to make a bed
No.
like a GI soldier? Like no.
Absolutely not. I was all right at it at the time, but I can't remember it now. There's not much to it.
Well, so if you wake up in the morning, do you like your first thing now is just like, oh, I must make my bed before I go to
No.
work? No, I'm the same. I don't see the point of it. I do not see the point of like making a spick span bed first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
For you
Well,
only to come home and wreck it.
I literally watched a thing the other day. A soldier was saying, "Make your bed every morning because it's the first task of the day done." And there's a little bit of like pride there, like, "Oh, I've got up, I've made my bed," and then that's the setup for the day.
No, the first task of the day is getting out of bed. I've done that. Like the rest of the day is going to be sweet. I got out of bed.
It's fine. I'm
I got out
here.
of bed. I'm happy to do that.
Nah. Yeah, I know. These like display cushions as well. Do you know them when people do that
What's a display? Well, like is this
on the
like,
bed
excessive pillows that you don't never use?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never understood that.
every day? Put them on, then go out, so no one's seeing them.
Mhm.
Then you come home, you take them all off, put them on the floor, get into bed, don't use them,
Never
and
use
then you
them.
get up the next day and you put them back on again.
I don't understand that. My mom is quite. She loves to display pillows, and I think she tried to incorporate it in my room for a long time. But then she realized I was actually quite a filthy child. The pillows were on the floor with my clothes. That she was like, that's a waste of a good pillow.
What's the likelihood your mum's going to listen to this?
Oh, very unlikely. Very unlikely. I mean, I've got a good connection with my mum, but when it comes to anything on Facebook or the internet, we don't want to know each other. Because I'll post stuff and she's just like, why would you say that? Why would you put that up there? And then she'll put stuff there like I'm like it's like a classic meme of like, or like one of those like cornbox philosophies like every day should be lived. It's like of course every day should be lived.
Yeah.
But then she looks at my Facebook page and it's just like Slayer, probably one of the best bands of all time. You're gonna love the lyrics. She's like, I don't understand why you're spreading this hate. Like pillows. Pillows.
I treat hate a lot like throw pillows.
Yeah.
I just like to spread it.
It's unnecessary. You don't have like it's like violence. It's just not unnecessary. Like you only need 2 pillows in your life.
Wow.
And good pillows. You can cheap out as well.
Yeah. I got a real good memory foam pillow. And it's like a funny shape, man. It's like a wave. So it accommodates for the dip in your shoulder.
Right. So you can get right in there.
Oh, it's great, man.
Do you ever see those like L?
And since the last 3 podcasts, Dave Walker has had an absolute slagging off. Dave, you've still got my good pillow. I want it back.
How does someone steal a good pillow? Is it a camping trip or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I left it there accidentally, and he was a legend, and he rescued it, but I still haven't got it. But what was I gonna? I was gonna say something then. Oh, when you're talking about posting on Facebook and stuff, it's kind of your thing.
Well, it's not really. I mean, I don't post just for the sake of it. I post mostly to annoy people who are on social media.
So for those who don't know, we have a Facebook page, like every town does, a trade-in page, buy, sell, swap sort of thing. And whenever I see Phil Kelly has commented, I'm just straight in there because I think my favourite one was there was a lovely young lad trying to save up to buy roller skates, and he was selling them big pine cones for $2 each.
Yeah.
And Phil's come in and
God.
basically said, "Ignore that, guys. I can undercut it and do it for $1.95."
And his mum had got in contact with me. I was actually saying, like, here, listen, he's only a small kid. He's trying his best to get ahead in the world. And I was like, listen, in the world of business, ageism is not a thing. So he's got to learn hard. He's got to learn fast. If he wants those rollerblades, he's got to start selling them properly. And I even just like, I said, maybe get the powers, like, you know, those power shells, abalone shells. Maybe make something out of them. That's an untapped market here.
Yeah, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
You can't.
You've got to branch out.
No. But my favourite of all, I got kicked off of Queenstown Cat Rescue. And I joined this purely because I actually wanted to adopt a cat, but the cat that I wanted to adopt ended up getting given away, so I had a bit of a sore time with that. So I took it upon myself to get kicked off.
Right.
And everybody was posting these comments about like, oh, there's so many like cats who need adoption, and we got adoption tents and cats. And I just made a comment and I says like, guys, like seriously, does anyone ever think about dogs in this? And I got kicked off straight away. You know, like, we don't like your attitude here. And I was like, all right, well that's it. So, but it's not like I'm not being vicious. It's just when I wake up in the morning and I look at Facebook or social media or anything like that, and there's a comment where someone is saying something so absolutely dreary and boring. I'm like, why am I reading this first thing in the morning?
Yeah.
So I find it, it's like if I'm willing to read your stuff, then you should at least have the common courtesy to read me and reply to my stuff. And yeah, it hasn't worked out. I've stopped doing it because I found I got too much satisfaction out of it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, now that was my thing for a while. People were like, oh Phil, what have you people were saying to me, just like, they'd see a post and be like, I can't wait for what Phil's going to say about this. And I'd see it and I'd be like, nah, it's a bit lowbrow for me.
Yeah. I'm better than that.
I am better than that.
There was the I think the best one so far was somebody had posted something to do with legalizing marijuana, and that guy just some random dude was kicking off big time, and I think it started when you were like, mate, you need to just chill out, maybe have a split.
No, he was because he was accusing like of because this mother had said like it was the ad was like McDonald's, Burger King, this is bad in society, this is considered like an evil thing, and then it was like a positive thing about marijuana, saying like this has got no recorded fatalities, blah 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 blah, and your man had just went off, and this mother had got online and was saying, well, how can you say that? It's just like, I would much rather give my children weed than give my children McDonald's.
Right.
And I was just like, well, it's a bit of a weird thing to say, but I can understand her point of it. But he had like was giving her like a hard time about being a bad mother and blah blah blah. It's just like, and I kind of took it upon myself to be saying stuff like, listen, mate, I can understand where you're coming from, but you're completely ill-informed. It would be like me saying, because you got a profile picture of you and a horse, that you were banging horses. And then that was him. He was like, are you trying to say I'm banging horses? I'm like, no, I'm not trying to say. It's like, but you can understand, just because you got a picture of you and a horse, I can run it one way where it's not actually the way it was. So yeah, that was a big heated one. That went on everyone in Queenstown.
That went on for days, man.
Yeah, that was.
And I remember at the end, he ran out of arguments and was like, meet me and I will fight you.
He was actually giving me missed calls on my phone, and I was just like,
how did he get your number?
I was just calling him through Messenger because I added him, of course. I wanted to see what he was going to say.
Friends. Yeah.
We could have been friends, but I remember seeing him in a pub like 2 months after it, and someone had said like, hey, that's the guy. So I was just like, right, well, I'm not going to say that. And so a couple of drinks in, I was just like, I have to say something. So I remember he was at the pub, he was at the bar with me, and I turned to him, and I was just like, you don't smoke weed, do you, by chance, man? And he's just like, no, I don't smoke fucking weed. I was just like, do you like horses, by chance? He's like, well, what's that got to do with that? It's like, well, I've got a horse.
Oh, man.
So like, yeah. So I realised I had to rear my head in because I was going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because Queenstown is such a small place. And like, even trying to get a job, some guys is like, oh, you're Phil Kelly. You're that fucking dickhead who was talking about bleeding horses and stuff
Right,
like that.
yeah.
I had to stop it.
But that's why Ollie hired you, incidentally. He thought that was he was like, Phil would be good chat at work. I've heard he's always taking unnecessary smoke breaks. And, but yeah.
Like, I'm not even like, I'm nowhere near as massive of a weed smoker that I used to be. Like, I still partake, but I would know, it's just the cause that I enjoy the cause. It's the personal freedom of someone to be able to go and smoke a joint and not be, just shouted at because it's like, oh, that's illegal, you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Whereas if like it's 2:00 on a Tuesday and you're piss drunk on tequila, it's perfectly fine. Alex just piss in a pub.
Yeah.
I like the cause of people's personal freedoms. I'm well into that. Like, you should get to decide what the fuck you want to do yourself. I mean, like, you used to partake yourself at one stage in your life.
Yeah.
So what was it that made you not want to do it anymore? Was it like the fear, the anxiety that came with it?
I just remember hitting a point when I was like, I don't know why I keep forcing myself to do this.
Yeah, you were forcing yourself to do
I was like, I'm not forcing myself. I was like, I've never like, it's never been like really, really enjoyable to the point where I'm like, oh, this is definitely worth it.
Yeah. But what about like the whole art side of it? Like, wouldn't that like throw up like mad ideas or a different line, a different curve, a different shade?
Nah, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered to do anything.
You're literally just sitting there with a pen going like, oh,
do
mate.
nothing, yeah. Just be like, what's the point in really being alive? If the Earth's just gonna...
If the Earth's flat.
Yeah, it's not for me, I don't think.
Wow. So like, was there... I mean, because you obviously around people who still smoke it. Do you enjoy the smell of it? You're like, oh, that smells nice. Yeah. The whole like, the coming home, the...
For me, it was more a process.
Right.
The actual process of like having all the little paraphernalias and like making something. I used to take more pride in that than actually smoking it.
You should hang out with stoners. Like, they fucking love you. It's just like, it's going to take 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But like, this is going to be beautiful.
I don't know, yeah. But like, anything hallucinogenic based, I already know is not for me. Definitely.
Because your mind is too overactive as it is.
When I see people who are tripping or something, I really want to ask them loads of questions about it.
Right.
Which is not what you want to hear.
It depends on who you're talking to.
But I just feel like I'd be so busy analysing what's going on, I wouldn't be
A part of.
a part. I wouldn't be able to just take something and just flow with the moment.
Right.
I can't do that.
Right.
I'd be like, oh, I feel like this now. What does that mean? And then I think I'd go into an inward spiral of madness.
But would it not feel that way sometimes when you're doing art? Do you not feel like almost the same kind of reactions like when why am I going this way? Why am I doing something like? And as a teetotaler as you are, why is when you get an art, do you not feel like it's like fuck, let's go left here and see what happens? Or
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know.
Asking yourself questions, just like, why am I drawing another dick?
Because it's funny, Phil, and it always will be.
It is.
It keeps coming up on my timeline,
I've seen that one. Yeah,
you post from 8 years ago. I'm like,
all your friends are fucking getting married, and you're still here, sitting here, happy as fuck, drinking a cup of tea, smoking.
Yeah, I don't know. The dick drawing thing. I remember the first time I watched Superbad. And I was like, oh my God. It's an actual thing that people around the world are doing. But I remember I did a drawing of 2 breasts.
Right.
And they were like, looked like the Mitchell brothers from EastEnders. They were like angry, and they had like weapons, and it was called Tough Titties. That was the name of the drawing. And my mum was like, oh, we don't. Feminism's come a long way since then. We don't use boobs to get a laugh. Or she said something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, you didn't moan when I was drawing dicks all the time.
So
it's sexist.
When you were living back home, were you drawing dicks at that stage? Were you like, oh, Mum, check this out? It's just like your father's. Like...
I don't... I've only started really putting them on the internet since the invention of like Instagram and stuff.
Right.
But I always used to draw them on the newspaper and stuff. It's too easy, man.
It's too easy. It's way too easy, yeah.
It's one of them things like, it is funny. It is funny, man. If you're like walking down the street and there's a new building and it's got a fresh wall and someone's drawn a dick on it, that is funny.
Or like a fucking local politician, it's just like, vote Joe, he's good to go. It's just like a dick coming into his mouth, like,
It's so funny, man. And everyone, like, well, most people draw it the same way as well, which is really funny.
Well, so like, you'll have like people who just draw the same kind of dick, like that the bald sack where it's got like the spiky hair.
The lines,
coming out.
3 lines, and then
and then
3
fucking
always in a
the fountain.
So that's where my art career is going. I've got that to fall back on at any stage.
Yeah.
But I used to think everyone should draw or paint.
Yeah.
Particularly paint. I think everyone should have a go at painting. I was trying to get my dad to paint for years. And he was like, oh, I can't paint. I'm no good. And a lot of people have that attitude. But it's like, you can't paint realism.
What do you mean?
That's
Are
the
we talking
difference.
like, fucking actual reality of what is...
Like, if I tried to paint the classic bowl of fruit, it would look fairly like a bowl of fruit, but not really.
Like a dick.
It is relatable. But if someone who never draws tries to paint a bowl of fruit, it's going to look a mess,
right?
And then they're like, "Oh, I can't paint." So, well, you just can't paint that style.
Right. So, would you say like
just paint colours,
any
paint
shapes,
shapes,
just go mental?
Try and do a portrait, and it will come out looking weird. But like, look at Picasso. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That's just your style, and if you just keep doing it, no one else is going to be able to do it the way you do it, and you will get better if you want to get better. But it's like, my dad started getting into it now a bit, and already I can see him like, oh, I'm going to just try and do this, or I'm going to just try and do that. And it's like, I think it's really good. I think everyone should just do it. But then I watched a Banksy documentary where he tried to teach this guy, and the guy ended up basically taking over the art world in America.
What, really?
He made millions, man.
Well, because like just untapped natural resources of art.
He was just ripping everybody's work off.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
So he called himself Mr. Brainwash.
This isn't that like fucking shitty character of the that tattoo thing you were showing me of like this is really bad like lion's head, and it was like
the panther. The Stucky Panther.
Panther. Because like that's huge. That's like a really, really bad thing, but it's absolutely huge.
That's even become a brand as a lager now. Sucky Lager or something.
Yeah. It might be a garage project or whatever it is. Not name dropping
not-
brands, but I would never drink that shit.
Oh,
But it is like it is. There was, I remember being when I was living in Wellington. I was working in Contact Energy fucking a call center, and right across the road there was an art studio. And I went over and like in the windows they got like you got your classic landscapes and fucking portraits and whatever else. But I went in because I just wanted to see what was going on.
yeah.
And there was this guy, and it literally looked like an 11-year-old had fell over some paints and got onto a canvas. And I was just like, I could do that. And your man was just like, well, you didn't.
Yeah.
This guy did, and this is why this is going for $3,500.
Yeah.
And I was just, that's amazing. It's like, well, if you think of like an idea where you're like, I could have done that. If you think of punk music, for instance, The Clash have 4 chords to a song. Nobody had ever done 4 chords to a song the way they had done it.
Yeah.
But everyone was like, I can totally do that.
Yeah.
But that's the idea of art, isn't it? Like anyone can do it. You just have to be confident in what you're doing.
just
Like,
gotta
you know
do
what?
it.
This is me.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah. That sort of, well, at the moment there's this thing. I can't remember if I've spoke about it before, but they're doing these like pendulum paintings. You seen that online where they're getting like a can of paint on a bit of string
I have seen this.
and
Yeah.
they just let it do a. That does my head, and that does.
But that's not art.
Ah.
That's just like, remember what was the thing where you could it's like it's like a stencil and you got a pen in the middle of it and you just went mental
Oh,
in the middle of it.
it's Spirograph.
Spirograph.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh my
yeah,
god,
yeah.
I'm an artist. Like, no, you're not. mate.
Yeah.
You can use your hand. you
You
know.
were working. It's just a mechanical thing. Yeah. I don't know, man. Even as someone who appreciates most art, there's definitely some I look at and I'm like,
Not a chance.
Rubbish.
No, not a chance. But then again, it's also the idea of just like, well, you couldn't come up with that idea. It's just like, yeah, because it's so simple. You're like, well, because it's so simple, I overlooked it because I was looking at drawing that bowl of fruit for 9 months.
Yeah,
where I should have
yeah,
just been just like doodling.
should have just run the ball.
I love doodling. Like, you know, if I'm talking to someone on the phone, or if I'm just, when I was working in Perth or whatever, in the offices, I would always be constantly just drawing absolute shit.
Yeah.
And I used to love to put the pen down and then just see where it ends, never lift it up, you know. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, just kind of like flick a little thing here.
There's a
there,
name
whatever.
for that. It's called what's it called now? It's to do with your subconscious anyway.
Yeah.
Where you basically draw without looking, a continuous thing.
No, I was definitely looking.
You were definitely looking.
What my idea was is like I'll draw, like, say for instance, I'll draw a face, and then I'll try to incorporate the body without overlapping the same line, and just because it looks like some mad,
Yeah.
like spaghetti madness, like, you know. But I enjoyed doing that because I never knew where the pen was going to go. It's like what do they call it? Stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Just be able
It
to,
just
like,
does what it
Just
wants
does what
to
it
do.
wants to do. Yeah. I really enjoyed that, and I still mess around with it from time to time. But painting, I've never. Again, because like when you pick up a paintbrush, and like you got paints, and like, you know, you look at some your work, or you look at anybody else's, you're like, how do you blend those 2 colors? And then everything just turns brown.
yeah.
It's like, how am I gonna?
Yeah.
I can't draw another fucking tree trunk. Like, I'm sick
Yeah.
of this shit. Like,
I've drawn tree trunks. I've drawn turds.
the moss outside. You know, I can't be doing that.
When were you living in Perth?
Oh, I lived in Perth before I lived in New Zealand. So that would have, I'm in New Zealand 8 years now. So I lived in Perth for three years pretty much. But I was living in Margaret River and in Busselton for a little bit as well.
Doing what?
Well, when I got to Busselton, I moved in with my ex-girlfriend's parents and ended up getting a job in a craft beer
Ooh.
place. It was this fella called Bill, called Ocky's Brewery, and it was pretty much 2 big vats of beer and a backyard. And it
Right.
was
Yeah.
open between 10 and 6. And Bill had said to me my first day
Is
of the
this
job,
10 a.m. and 6 or
10
10
a.m.
p.m.?
No, 10 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Right,
So, 'cause
yeah.
it was just tourists coming through.
Yeah.
Bang,
yeah,
bang,
yeah.
bang. So on my first day on the job, Bill had turned to me and said, listen, this beer cost me absolutely nothing to make, so you drink as much as you fucking want. And I took that upon myself.
yeah.
I took that
That
upon
sounds like a
myself.
challenge.
Yeah. I took that upon myself to be like, right, well, I'll have drinks with the customers. It was grand. It was grand.
Just getting
But, like,
lashed.
that was the first time I actually ever really got into craft beer. And beforehand in Dublin, like you'd only ever have like your four main beers, like your Bulmers and Budweisers and Guinnesses. But when I got there, I really got a taste for it, and I was just like, this is actually a different caliber.
Were you involved in the making of it?
No, not at all. No, I tried. I did ask him one time, but he actually said, he was like, "Nah, you're too much of a pisshead." I was just like, "Well, this is on you, man. This is on you." Like.
Yeah.
But
Help yourself.
help yourself. But yeah, like I did that for 6 months, and then moved to Margaret River for 2 months, and then moved to Perth for just under 3 years.
Right.
Perth was a different. You lived in Perth, haven't you?
Nah, I've never been
No.
there. Never went West Coast.
See, I never left the West Coast,
Right.
so I haven't been to Melbourne, Sydney, anywhere else that was supposedly made for me.
West is best.
But where were you?
The whole East Coast. Everywhere.
Like,
Mainly Coffs Harbour.
where's Coffs
It's-
Harbour?
About halfway between Sydney and Brisbane.
And what is this where you do
I only
rowboats
stayed
was
there
it,
because
or-
I got a job with the concrete crews. But it was cool though. It was like a sort of big small town.
Yeah.
It was the main stop off between the two, so there was still a lot going on there. But yeah, never made it over to Perth. But it's meant to be pretty wild city, is it not?
It was mad because like when I
I
moved
hear
over
there's
there.
like this is just what I hear, but there's big drug problems over there.
Oh yeah. There's like it's quite mental over there. Well, there's loads of stories I could tell you about like some of my friends who because when I moved over there I was 24, and I was going out with a girl who was 29, and her friends were all like 29 to 35.
Yeah.
So I was hanging out with a lot older group who lived there, their whole lives, and they were pretty into it. Like, and there was a couple of incidents where I was just like, wow, these guys are kind of fucked. Like, but not like they were like they didn't like beat up a child or anything like that. It was just like they were on the sesh. They were like sesh heads, and I never really got into that kind of scene myself.
Yeah.
I was more just of a stoner and a drinker, and like I like playing guitar and messing out. I didn't want to be awake for 4 days. I
Yeah,
just didn't see the point in it. I was just like, nah, fuck that. But it was a good time to be over there. But when I left, I was actually happier. I'm happier in New Zealand than I've been in Perth, because Perth was for me it was too fucking hot, man.
Yeah.
It's like 38 degrees. I'm coming from Dublin, which is 28 degrees was like a mystical thing. Like, even 11 degrees, the country would close down and you would run to the beach, even though the tide was out. You just keep fucking running. Like. So to be in Perth, I'll always remember walking down I can't remember the name of the beach, but walking down, I was in jeans, my leather boots, and a fucking t-shirt, and like these two chicks were walking towards me like, "What are you doing in jeans?" I was just like, "It's too fucking hot." I was like, "I'm born. If you show my legs right now, I will burn." So I had to, but I was also maintaining the cool.
Yeah.
You
got to swag out.
I'm representing, like, wearing a Scanda jacket. Oh, it's gonna rain soon.
So, yeah, okay. So Dublin as a youngster,
Yeah.
how's that?
That's I mean, if you're into football, if you're into that kind of camaraderie, if you're into like being happy with just settled in Dublin, and like, because I lived in a council estate, and I always was always the different one, because I watched loads of movies, so I wanted to be in the 60s, and I wanted to dance disco and all that shit.
Yeah.
So listening to Scooter wasn't really appealing for me.
Yeah.
But living there was a real big eye opener, because I realized that's one place that I and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with anyone who lives on a council estate wherever you are in the world. But I just wanted more out of it. And for me, growing up, when I got to 16, 17, I became like a metaler hippie. Well, I became a hippie first, and then I got into metal. And like, because I wasn't wearing like tracksuit or living that life, I was automatically ostracized, and because I'm 6'4" as well, I was,
Yeah. You're not
like,
discreet. Look,
But because everyone knew me in the area, I was kind of left alone. But yeah, like Dublin is a crazy place to live in. I mean, like, incredibly loyal people to each other. But I didn't fit in with it. I used to read, and like when I was reading books on a bus or whatever, people would be like, "What's the story with the book?
Yeah.
Can you not just watch TV?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to just watch TV. Like it's different. This is very, very different."
I was kind of saying this last week, and my mum misread it, I think, as "I hate England," and I got a message from my sister saying, "Mum says you hate England. Here's a YouTube compilation videos of some of the best moments of British TV," and it was like, it is some of the best stuff I've ever seen. You know, stupid stuff. If everyone knows the man Fish and a Rice Cake, you know that fella. Oh man, it is a classic. But I was like, yeah, I love all that stuff. I just like never really wanted to stay there
Yeah.
for whatever reason that was. I don't know.
Did you feel like not like you demanded much, but like I kind of felt like, I know for me personally, my personal experience is like, I felt like I deserved more. I was just like, I was more interested in like, I wanted to find out about different people's cultures. I wanted to find out about history. I wanted to find out about how people lived outside of Dublin.
Yeah.
Like even like I remember being very young and like having a joint at the front door when I was like 17 or 18 and looking up at the stars in a light polluted town and looking at stars and going like, this is brilliant. But when I got to Australia, it was like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah, man.
That's what blew my mind, you know?
The sky here is next level.
Yeah.
I still can't remember if I ever saw it at home or not, but here on a night, most nights you can see the Milky Way.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
It's unreal, isn't it?
It's absolutely outstanding. It kills me, like, when you do say, because it's like when people say you live in Queenstown for a long time, you forget about the mountains, you forget about the lakes. It's like, I don't. Every time I see them, like, this is spectacular.
It was cool this morning.
Was there one? Did you have a proper lake?
Man,
Proper
all the mist and stuff coming off the lake.
Mm.
Very cool. It's a mad like weather system in the mountains, isn't it? It's like
blows your mind, man.
freezing, and then the sun's out and it's so hot, and then it's freezing again.
No, it's mental. It's mental. Like I remember the last time I went home, I tried to explain. Well, I'd seen a guy that I hadn't seen in a long time who lived right across the road from me, and he still lives there to this very day. He still lives with his parents. I hadn't seen him in a long time, and he come up and he's just like, "Oh, Philip, you live in New Zealand? What's it like?" And I was like, "Oh man, it's amazing. Like the sunsets, it's just like you're 20 minutes away from being in the middle of nowhere." He's like, "Yeah," and he's like, we got a KFC now." I haven't seen you in like 11 years. You're telling me the biggest news of your life is KFC.
Well,
like,
mate, I know exactly how you feel. Dover's just got Nando's, so
stop. It's
Look,
something to do with chicken. Where's the chicken?
and we got a jerk chicken shop.
What's jerk? Oh, jerk chicken, like traditional
man.
Jamaican chicken.
Yeah. Big Jamaican community in Dover, apparently.
Is
No.
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 One black fella.
That's it. After I don't know how long I've been, I was in New Zealand anyway, so I've been away from home for 5 years plus or whatever. And I've called my mum and said, "Oh, what's new? What's been going on? I haven't spoken to you for ages." And she's like, "Joe's got a new exhaust on his car." You're joking.
No,
You are joking.
Did she even explain what kind of make of car it was?
Oh no, it wasn't like a flash thing. It was like it had problems with it, failed the MOT,
Yeah.
just got it fixed.
Oh wow, that's a huge story. That's a huge story. My mum is like she's been working the last 4 or 5 years. She does like homeless work, like just free stuff. Like she goes into the inner city Dublin, knows where all the guys who are actually living homeless, knows where all the junkies are living, and she goes out every tourist day Friday night, brings them sandwiches. She said to me the other night, she's like,
Why did you give me a dodgy wink when you said sandwiches?
because like it's more than sandwiches. So she went out and there was a store. Just a quick side story. This is like about 12 years ago. There was these two sisters who had killed their stepdad, cut his head off, disemboweled him in the toilet, and then cut him up and put him in.
Right, I didn't think the story was going.
No,
this
the
way.
story's going this way. So they had cut them up, put them into suitcases, and then just threw them into different parts of these rivers outside. So back to my mum's story, and she's just like, I was doing the homeless thing there on Thursday, Friday night. Guess where I delivered food? I was like, where? It's like, exactly where they found the body. I was like, Jesus Christ. They found the head. It's like, what did you bring them? I was like, oh, just sandwiches. Just sandwiches.
you know.
So that's like the point of reference for my mum. Like that's how her stories goes. Like, you know, I got shot out of that house 2 years ago. I got a taxi outside there.
Yeah,
Like, Jesus,
yeah.
Mum, like, this is what's going on in Dublin. This is what's going on.
Was there any mad stuff going on in your estate growing up?
Oh man, 100%. Like
Yeah.
I lived in the. I mean, like I remember. I've told like lots of different stories about where I grew up, and I brought like an ex-girlfriend at the time back to meet my parents, and she was just like, I don't believe you. Like these stories are too far fetched.
Yeah.
The day she met my parents, she got off the airplane and came home. She was sitting down at the kitchen table, and there was a knock on the door. And this fella comes in a tracksuit, and his upper body is full of stuff, and he just starts taking out like deodorants, like aftershaves, all this stuff. And he's just like, I just robbed them out with like fucking PC Smiths or whatever. And I remember I was just like, see, this is where I grew up. This is the norm for me. The norm was like my sister just selling. I mean, like, not my actual sister. She didn't sell, just to be legally advised. She didn't sell it, but like it was a very normal thing. But my area was absolutely mad. We had like crazy alcoholics. We had like people dying. About 6 months ago, a lad I work with, Shane, he had said, he's like, did you hear what went on in Coolock? And Coolock is where I grew up. I was like, what happened? He's like, well, they found a bag full of like limbs, a torso, you know, some rib cages, the whole 9 yards. They found it in a bag. And he sent me over the picture, and the picture is literally 50 meters from my parents' house. So I got into my mum. I was just like, what happened? She's like, oh no, it's crazy. This area's getting worse. It's like, of course it's getting worse. They're finding torsos outside the front house.
Oh my god.
So it's still ongoing in that area, like, you know, and like this is why when I tell people like about living in New Zealand, it's like I've never had an issue here being in trouble with violence, with fighting, nothing, never once.
Yeah.
But back in Dublin, it's if you ask somebody, hey man, how you doing? Are you having a good day? They'll say,
do I know you?
Well, what's it to you? It's like, it's nothing to me. I'm literally just asking you, how's your fucking day going?
Yeah.
So like, would it be like that for your area where you grew up in?
We had around the corner from us, so there was probably, I think there was maybe 10 houses in the street. We were number 5. Round the corner, all the gardens backed onto each other. So the street at a right angle to our street, their gardens sort of backed onto our gardens, you know?
Right.
So we could see the back of their houses, they could see the back of our houses. And there was like, I'm assuming heroin addicts living in one of these houses, because you used to see them in the street like pure zombies. And one night a week at least there'd be a brawl in the street. Cops would come. I remember seeing a guy like throwing a brick at someone else's head and all that, you know. But like, I remember my dad was out in the street painting the house once, and this guy's walked past and he's like spat in the front garden. And like my dad's come down and he's basically like, what? And he's smacked out of his head, this guy. He's gone away. And then the next day he's come back and I'm like, oh, sorry about that. Oh, I wasn't myself, and all apologised and that. But I remember got my first car, kitted it out with a flash stereo and some speakers and that. Gone. It's gone. And not just like,
they left the car.
not even like they just ripped it out. The sub in the back and the radio, they took all the carpet up, took all the wires out. They'd done a proper job on it.
Jesus.
But I used to have to bring all my tools in every night and then load them back out every afternoon. And then there was houses getting broken into, and they would be taking like small stuff that they could just put in their pocket and sell, you know.
Yeah.
So not TVs and stuff, but they'd be taking like watches and all that sort of shit. But food, that's when you know it's junkies, eh? When they nick some DVDs and a box of cornflakes. Yeah, it's like, yeah. So that, like, My mum still locks the door. If she's in the house and she's going upstairs, she'll lock the front door.
Right. But the locking the door thing is like that's what really blew my mind when I moved to Australia, because I remember when I lived in Bustleton, and this is in the middle of nowhere.